In this video, I will be reimagining your images to show the best of your image and to truly show its hidden potential. That being said, these edits are not photoshopped, as I believe that Photoshop does not really create images in a way they should realistically look. Instead, I will use Adobe Lightroom. Have you ever thought to yourself, when you look at a beautiful view, for example, you take a picture of it perhaps, but when you take a picture, it just doesn't look the same. Maybe the lighting is completely ruined, or the focus of the image is gone, or maybe the color is just completely off to what you originally saw. However, with the smallest fixes to an image, you can bring it back to life the way you saw it. And that is exactly what I will be trying to do. So for this image, we'll start with the exposure, which is basically the lighting in the image, and we'll try and raise it to a certain extent where you can actually see the whiteness of the shoes, which you should see right about here now. And as you can see now, we can fully concentrate on the main part of the image, which is obviously the shoes. Then we'll fix up the contrast a little bit and decrease the highlights so that we can see the clouds a little bit more as well. We'll add a bit more shadow to it as well so that we aren't missing out on the shading of the image, of course. We'll raise the whites as well because that also adds to the light of white color in the image, and also add a bit more black so that we don't lose that effect either. For this next part, we'll add a bit of dehazing to the image, and what this actually does is, let's say there was a bit of fog or mist in your image, for example, that would basically remove the fog, or at least do its best to remove the fog, and basically add more clearness in the image, and we'll add a bit of clarity as well to just, you know, really bring up that image in color and darkness and all sorts of things like that. Now for color, this one can be very interesting actually. We'll go into the mix section here and we'll add a bit of hue, and you can already see one of the main things is the grass color changes. And what I thought, well, I'll keep it to the green, but I won't add too much green, if that makes sense, because you don't want it to look like a cartoon or something like that. You still want it to look as realistic as possible, and you kind of want to give it that contrast with the white shoes and the green grass, which really fits in, of course. For the blue color then, we're going to try and get the blue sky to have a little bit more color because you can't really see it as much, but we don't want to do it so much that it looks like we're in, I don't know, Miami or something. I don't know, something really blue, but we're not in Miami here, you can easily tell, or at least maybe you can't, but I know for a fact that that day wasn't crazy, but I knew that there was still a bit of blue in the sky that the camera just couldn't see or take in. For the purple as well, we'll use the purple to make the pants look a little bit more colorful. And we'll use this gradient to get most of the sky here and change it up a little bit so that we can add more effect in the background, I guess you can say. So what we'll do is lower the exposure, and already you can see the dramatic effect that it has. You can see a lot of blue sky here, and that's basically the aim. Now I don't use contrast much, but I did add a little bit of it, and also added highlights as well, and a bit of shadows. And as you can see now, it does look pretty interesting. Now I decreased the whites as well so that the clouds aren't too bright on the camera screen, and I also sort of decreased the blacks so you can see them more. So I really don't know why it's minus when really it's plus, but you know, I don't know how to explain that. Now dehazing was just a little bit of a test, but I do not want the sky to look super blue, so I did dehaze it just a little bit here. Now obviously I did not do the other side of the clouds on the very right of the image, so we're gonna have to do that on the other side as well, and somewhat do the same thing. So we do the exposure again and lower it so that you can see the blue again, change the contrast once again. Everything's basically repeated here, so you already know what's gonna happen here, so we'll just skip right on to the next part. So for this next part, actually I decided to add another gradient and put it on the very left corner, bottom left corner where the grass is, because I wanted to add a bit of effect to the grass because it seemed very bright. It didn't really make sense because, you know, there should be a bit of shadow, you know, from the legs, or at least from the shoe part, depending on where the sun is, but there should still be some sort of shading effect here. So I decided to lower the exposure a bit, change the whites and blacks a little bit so that it doesn't look super dark, and then I ended up with something pretty nice actually. I did add a bit of clarity, but not too much, and that was it then. And I did test out the dehaze, but in the end I didn't do a crazy amount. So that was about it for that. So this was that image. It was really fun and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool, and here's the before and after. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Now, I'm not entirely sure if you were enjoying this, so I only did one image for now. And if you are interested to see your image perhaps, leave a like, subscribe, and if you do want to see more of this stuff, or part 2 or whatever, then leave a like, comment it down below, and I'll make sure to see it because I will read your message. So, you know, thank you, and I'll see you guys soon.